Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Can you believe we're in December, right? How many of you guys are getting festive? How many of you guys have put up your tree? For those of you who celebrate Christmas, I'm just saying, put your hand up. I have little mini Christmas trees, and I actually put mine up the last week of November, getting a little festive, of course, right? And you have to keep in mind that December is a month where it can get a lot more emotional, because we start reflecting back onto people who we've lost. It could be family or friends or our pets that have passed on. However, keep in mind they're very much still with you. And December is a very high consciousness month, Christ consciousness. Like I channel in, with the Christ consciousness all the time. So I get messages nonstop. So especially pay attention to when you're feeling a presence coming around you. You might be like, I don't know, I'm feeling something. That very well could be somebody who has passed away, you know? So just keep that in mind, you guys. Keep that in mind. It's a very hard month for a lot of different people because of that. And not everyone has someone to spend the holidays with or Christmas with. I get that. I'm usually by myself at Christmas as well, and I would normally work at the hospice beforehand, put me on schedule to be more of service, right? But you still have to make the best out of it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can plan your vision board that day. Sit back, watch some movies, cook yourself a really nice dinner. Some people will even work at like the homeless shelter, cooking a dinner or something, right? So now let's talk about this week's cosmic vibes from the 6th to the 12th of December. Now, before I begin, make sure you guys set your clocks and your dials. Friday, December 19th, I'm going live. It's the last live free reading of the year and offering you a free clairvoyant reading. So if you want to tune in, join me at 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 11 a.m. Pacific. So, or follow me on Instagram as well, because sometimes my team will post information like that up. So I'll try to put more information in my storylines as well to remind you guys if they don't do it. So pay attention, you guys. This is a really festive week. Well, it's a festive month, right? We're ending 2025 here, like, oh my gosh, right? Like, are you kidding me? Now, I might even switch up a few things. I have a group on Facebook as well, Higher Vibes with Jenny G. Cousins. And join me there on Facebook because I put content there. And I might even be going live there in the group, offering free clairvoyant writing spontaneously, more so in 2026 and not so much here on YouTube. So you never know. You never know what I'm going to be doing. I just kind of go with the flow. So you're going to see things unraveling more and more and more this week. So really pay attention. December 6th, happy birthday, Samantha, my niece in the UK. Hugs and love. I wished I was there. So far away, so far away. It's during certain times that you really wish you were closer to, like family and certain family members, and all my love to Christopher as well, and so on. So this is the time when you're going to be communicating better between the 6th and the 7th. We had that Mercury retrograde, right? I never liked Mercury retrograde, but there's always the positives and the negatives with any cosmic event, anything. We just got to try to make the best out of it. So we just had that super full moon in Gemini. It could have got really intense for you, where others could have been like, wow, this is really amazing. We all have our own experiences with it. So there's a lot of detoxing going on right now as well. So some of you might notice that because there's solar flares and different events, your body is sweating a lot more. It's like, well, maybe I'm in menopause. Maybe I'm just, yes, of course. But how many of you have been having more night sweats lately? Men and women waking up and you're like, what's going on? Your body is detoxing as well. But of course, if you have any concerns, by all means, please go get yourself looked at and checked and so on. So you're going to see more clarity the 6th and the 7th. You're going to feel more compassion towards others, because that communication will open up much better and also show yourself more compassion as well. You're going to be doing a lot more reflecting back on lessons that we've learned the past year. Lessons are always painful. However, it comes down to what did you truly learn from that? I always do that. I swear and cuss to the universe, rah, 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 do my rant and rave as I'm reflecting back, right? We're all human. So you're going to be letting go more the 6th and the 7th, and really pay attention to more of your long-term goals. I'm always talking about long-term goals, and short-term goals, right? But what happened in 2025, you're really setting things up for 2027. So 2026 is going to be a fast year. It's going to move quick, the year of the fire horse. I'll be doing my predictions video here. If I get a chance this weekend for my yearly predictions, a lot of them have happened and come true. So I'm really hoping I can get that done this weekend and have my team put it up for you right away as well. So you can kind of better prepare. That's why I like putting it up in December, for that reason, so you can kind of prepare and such like that, So December 8th and 9th, what's going on for you guys? Really pay attention to your creative side. Maybe that's the day where you guys are putting up your Christmas tree. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the day we're going to get really festive. Like, oh my God, maybe I'm going to put outdoor Christmas lights out. I mean, I have solar lights, like, I don't have any plug-in actually in my yard. So I have solar lights. So I took advantage when the weather was not that bad, and I put Christmas lights outside along my fence and so on and so on. Mind you, there's been really cloudy and winter and stormy, so the lights normally don't go on. It needs that sunshine to really activate them and re-energize them. But I saw them and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks pretty cool. You can get really creative. So really pay attention, because you might start getting really big ideas, right? You know how I said make some long-term goals, really look at, what do you guys really want? Like I was even thinking about that last night, because during that full moon in Gemini, I woke up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, really? And I didn't fall back to sleep till like 6 a.m. And I'm like, really? So really pay attention right now to this energy. What is your long-term goals? Start creating your vision board. You don't have to have your vision board done in one day. Like sometimes I'll have like an idea come mid of the year, or it could be like any time. I'll just add it on there. I'm not looking at how is this going to happen or when is this going to happen. It's like my classes I've been working on. I work on it when I can. Mercury retrograde, I didn't do anything technical because of Mercury retrograde, right? But it's in the meantime, you're preparing, getting things ready, getting ready to release things, to get things out there, because you're going to be letting go of the past a lot, past behaviors, past toxic patterns. We all have stuff we're always working through, anything, yet anything. So it could be a little bit of challenging that time. Maybe some of you are having Christmas parties or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I really don't want to be having all of these sweets or drinking or like whatever it is. We can really cut back rather than having 5 glasses of wine, let's just say, maybe have a glass of wine, you know, rather than having a huge plate, maybe have a half a plate, just certain things like that, because a little bit by a little bit really makes a difference. So you're going to be letting go more of your fears, so it's like when we face our fears, we get more liberated, and some people are like, oh my God, it's natural to go into fear. This has been a really challenging year for some. There's people that, that I've talked to that they're like, Jenny, I didn't see anything I accomplished this year. Like normally I can look back and say, I accomplished that or accomplished that. I don't see anything. So this is when I will tell them, you know what, let's just review your year. What happened? Well, I had to deal with, oh my gosh, all of these other things like, health problems or this happened or that happened. And things like that happen, because everything that's no longer in alignment for you had to end this year. That completion, universal 9 year, as I talked about. So certain things we had to get done and out of the way. And whenever we end things, it can get painful, of course. Completions, death, endings of jobs, relationships, like could be anything. I had all these health issues, Janice. A lot of people did. However, did you face them? I mean, I was always back and forth, believe me. Oh my God. Even yesterday I was back at the clinic and I'm like, are you kidding me? That's part of life. We have to deal with situations. We can't ignore it, right? So pay attention right now. Don't be hard on yourself. Like, don't, I only accomplished one goal, Jenny. Maybe that goal really, really helped. You don't have to work on that now because you've accomplished that. Please don't be hard on yourself. Like this is a really, challenging place to live on earth. We've seen so many changes going on, and I'm going to talk about that more in my predictions video. What's coming? So this is the time to focus on you, really start start over with your plans. Every second, every day is a new beginning to start again, to revamp things, to start goals or work towards goals, all of those things, right? I'm just saying. So really pay attention to what's flowing. I've asked spirit for certain signs and I got certain signs. And this morning I'm like, oh my God. That's oh my gosh, that's the one I picked out. Oh, and they named, oh my God. I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps. And I'm like, wow, I get goosebumps now even thinking about that. But anyways, I won't talk about that until it actually happens. So for those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. I'll know in February. That's all I'm going to tell you. February 2026. So anyways, December 10th and 11th, you are going to be moving forward more. You will see more clarity as long as you're not sweeping things under the rug, as I call it. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. It's going to be a time to reflect, and you're going to see more soul aligned, soul tribe groups or people that support you in a positive way. You're going to be letting go of karmic relationships as well. So that can be hard. That can be painful. Even in your dreams, pay attention because you could very well be having more dreams of people from your past, let's say, or people right now that you've been having problems with, and you're like, oh my gosh, right? So pay attention to the dreams of that, because sometimes it's like, I don't want to reach out to that person. I haven't talked to them for like, oh my God. It doesn't mean you have to, but there are messages in your dreams for you. So really pay attention. The 10th and 11th, you could be, a little bit more impatient. Just kind of let things flow. Let things flow. You can only handle what your actions and behaviors like yourself, right? Of course. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? I actually swear and cuss to the universe every day. When I woke up last night at 2, and I'm like, I have a really busy day. I don't have time for this. Like, why are you doing this? And then I'm like, oh my God, it's the full moon, of course. So things happen for a reason, and we can't fight it. Like you can't fight with the planets and the universe. I believe me, I try and I do. They're like, I can literally see them looking back. Look at her down there having a tantrum, right? It's like, I know. Just get me back to sleep for a bit so I can at least have some function for the day. You got to try to bring in that humor and that laughter to help you through certain situations. You really do, or else you're just going to fall apart, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like December for me, I had a few deaths as well. So December's a month I get triggered a bit. My two best friends passed away on the 16th of December and the 17th of December. You know, my grandmother died in December. My first sister died in December. Like I could go on and on and on, right? You know, so December can be very hard and challenging for certain people and for whatever reason, like whatever reason for you, you know what I mean? So I will stress that out for the entire month. So just take it easy. Now, as we move into the 12th, that's a really big portal day. So when we have portals, portals can open things and it can shut the door on things. So it can be very challenging, or it can be very transformational. You can go through a major transformation. You could be like, I'm understanding a lot more now. I'm seeing more clarity. I can understand why. And really pay attention to the synchronicities. Jenny, I haven't seen any synchronicities all year. I've been going through hell. Oh, I've heard that from a lot of people. You're not alone. You're not alone, right? You're not. But I feel alone, Jenny. I understand. You know, I'm by myself. I get it. I understand. You know, I'm always grateful when I'm chatting away to you guys and, you know, and my clients and friends and so on, right? So just make the best of it. Try to prioritize peace and harmony on the 12th. You know, you very well could feel more empowered as well on the 12th, because of that portal. You will start taking more responsibility for your actions, behaviors as well. You know, like every day, you know, this month is holidays, festive. You know, you're going to be more social with people, or, you know, parties, or like whatever it is. Some of you are getting away. For those of you who are leaving the snow, this is what it looks like here right now, this background. For those of you who are leaving the snow, God be with you. You know, if I had that opportunity, believe me, I would be on it like you'd have no tomorrow. But Jenny, I want to get away. I want to max out my credit card. Don't max out your credit card. Believe me, I could easily do that myself. But I know you got to just budget. You got to be very careful, right? So you're really going to be seeing even more, you know, this makes really sense now. This makes sense now why this happened. Or, you know, that doesn't make sense. Really pay attention to what isn't flowing. Like, what have you guys been struggling with? Like, you know, I look back on the year and say, okay, what was working? What do I need to end? What do I need to let go of? You know, what do I need to recreate? Like all of those things, right? I always do. Always do. Some things you work, some things you don't, right? But sometimes you have to take a chance and give it a go. Like I normally, you know, like give things a chance for a while, see how things work. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just time to close the door and move on. You know, if it's working, great, it's flowing. Things are, yeah, I'm really seeing a lot of, you know, this, and that. You know, relationships, your jobs, everything. Because there's people that really want to create new opportunities with careers and such like that. Right. This whole year is being more of service as well. So there's a lot that's happening with you guys. So really pay attention on what do you really want to do next year in 2026. You know, you'll see, like, now I get it why I haven't moved. Now I get it why I wasn't in that relationship. Now, like whatever it is, all of those things, right? So make sure you guys really pay attention with what's going on. We all have stuff we're dealing with, as I mentioned, right? You know, you can always book a reading with me. I can give you a lot more clarity and insights with what's going on, what's coming up, why these things are happening, and so on, right? I mean, sometimes all we need are just confirmations to know we're on the right path, because there's so many people out there who are feeling disconnected. They're like, you know, as I mentioned, Jenny, I don't feel like I've moved forward this year. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. Like, all of us are going through a lot, you know, one way or another, dealing with stuff, right? I was about to talk about the government, but I'm not. I will be talking about that this month on another show. But anyways, we're not going to go there right now. So I'm just going to pull a couple of cards. I did not feel that calling to pull different decks. I only just kind of felt maybe to pull one or two cards. So I go by that. So whenever you're using cards, make sure you clear them. I don't use cards in any readings at all. I'm clairvoyant psychic medium. So I do your past life, Akashic records, animal communicator, a medium, all of those things. So let's just pull a couple of cards and just see what messages are for you. So just keep in mind, not all of you guys are going to resonate with it. Of course you're not. You know, I've had people, what deck of cards should I get, Jenny? Whatever ones you're drawn to, go by how you feel. What are you interested in? But how do I know if that's the right deck? You don't. You got to start somewhere. Believe me, I've got so many decks I gave a ton away. A ton away. So December 6th to the 12th. What's the message for us? What's that message? 6 to the 12th. 6 to the 12th. 6 to the 12th. Too many cards fell out. Message from Spirit. 6 to the 12th. 6 to the 12th. Magical map shifter. Oh, how perfect. So a magical map shifter. A map represents the direction you're going. Okay, so how do I get to this address or location? So you'd have to look it up on a map or GPS, right? So you know how I talk about long-term goals? It's like, okay, I want to do that, or I want to go to that destination. Write it down, and then you do your research to get there. You do your, okay, how do I get there? What steps do I need to take? What do I need to change? Like December's a month of miracles. Miracles happen in December. I haven't seen no miracles. We're just starting the month. For goodness sakes, be gentle with yourself. I am open to miracles that are for my highest self and highest purpose, that are positive. Some of you might be seeing the number 555 a lot, 444, 111, all of those different things. I especially pay attention more so to 555. 555 represents things are coming together in divine timing, but it also represents life changes. Whenever I see that, I'm open to positive changes in my life. I'm open up to positive new beginnings or opportunities, things like that, right? When you see the number, pay attention to where your thoughts are at that exact moment, and then work with that number to change any negative thoughts into positive thoughts right away, right? Work on your own map. Your soul is your inner GPS, like your gut instinct. Pay attention to that. Oh, I want to go here. I don't know. Pay attention to that. I don't know. Something's feeling off. Always listen to that. You might not see the full picture of it. That's what I'm saying. You can always book a reading with me. You might not see the full picture or the full dynamics, but just pay attention to that. Something's not right here. Yes, pay attention. So let's have a little chat with the other cards here. What do we got here? Oh, Doreen Virtue I pulled. Goddess guidance. There we go. Hard to bring up this. There we go. What is the message from the 6th to the 12th? How many of you guys are subscribed to the channel? How many of you guys are liking the videos? How many of you guys are not liking the videos? What's not working will end. I'll just put it that way. So, wow. Quiet time. This card fell out. Take some quiet time alone to rest. Meditate and contemplate. Always. Whenever you're fighting within yourself, whenever you're struggling, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, take some time for yourself. Meditation. Jenny, how do I meditate? There's so many different ways to meditate. I'm going to be talking about that in one of my classes I'm doing as well, right? But really listen. Take that time out. Turn your phones to off or mute. Distance away from the noise. Take time within yourself and just sit back and just listen. You can start reflecting. The more time we spend in quiet and silence, you will start hearing messages. Even go for a walk. I mean, like, look at this, like the beautiful background. Wouldn't that be really nice to go for a walk around there? Make sure you got boots on, of course, with good grip. But you know what I'm saying? When we go for a walk in nature, dress for it. I mean, our winters here get down to minus 40s. Like, it's crazy. Minus 50s, minus 30s. So I'm not going to be going out for a walk. I can tell you that right now, you know? But sometimes I will go out just really quick, even for 10 minutes or so. And wow, look at the beautiful trees. Look at how they're snow covered. Get some fresh air, dress for it, of course. You know, Sometimes even when we're not feeling that great or low energy, even when you go out for a walk, you're getting in that fresh air. It can really change and make a difference. But quiet time is so important. I get a lot of messages coming in during December, like I channel a lot because I channel and work through the Christ consciousness. So I get a lot of messages coming through in dreams and so many different ways. Like, what do I expect in a reading? Well, I have no idea. I just kind of go with the flow. And when I start getting information coming through, I just say it. For those of you who've had readings by me, you know how I'm at, right? So now, how many of you guys have subscribed to the channel? How many of you guys are going to be joining me right here on YouTube on the 19th of December? And ask me a question. Ask me a question what's coming up in 2026, but be very specific what you ask me. Don't say what's coming up because I want to answer you. Because I very well could, but I could tell you something that you don't want to know, or I already know this, Jen. Then be specific, right? All right, now. So y'all have a good week. Make some comments. Let me know what's going on. Join my group, Higher Vibes, Jenny G Cousins. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll connect with you. Namaste.